Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's not my normal Sunday night routine, but since I've gone 2 weeks and have just let myself get below the surface of the water, I figured it's better late than never. So I know you'll forgive me for sending these Monday afternoon rather than Sunday. But welcome to week 28 of our year. If you're like me, when I read that number counting up, I realized, oh, goodness gracious, we have 9 weeks left in this year, including spring break. So the time's really flying by. Here's a few things going on that you need to be aware of around the school this week. So tonight, we've got rising juniors and seniors and their parents hearing about the junior-senior year and dual enrollment. And before I forget, I know Daryl Fannin will think I'm wearing the microphone to try to look more cool like him, but it's actually just that I know there's an echo in my office and there's a lot of noise around, and I thought it would have better audio if I used the microphone. So just forgive the black-looking cigarette sticking out of my mouth. Be aware about the junior-senior meeting tonight. Also Tuesday night, if you're available from 6 to 7:30 in the Commons, our PTSA is hosting a panel program on cyber citizenry. They've got some college recruiters, military recruiter, somebody who works for a sorority somewhere, talking, and somebody else who actually is in the HR department in a company, talking about how they use digital footprints to make hiring and acceptance decisions. So it's a program aimed at students, but all are invited. So if you can spare the hour and a half, encourage students to come, please. We'd like to be sure that all the effort that our PTSA is putting into hosting this educational program, that they're rewarded with a good audience. Another thing coming up this week, Friday, now being an instructional day, we chose listening to teachers. We had a choice, and we asked them to designate it an end day in STAR. So students will follow the end day. You need to take attendance in classes, and we will deal with the whole issue of excused, unexcused, case by case later on. We've been given the autonomy at the school level to decide what's excused and what's not, what should count against senior final exam incentives and what shouldn't. So like I said, we'll handle all those case by case. And of course, since Friday is now a regular class day, our retreat is postponed, but we're still going to start the day celebrating the milestones in the lives of several of our faculty members with our breakfast showers. So please contribute if you can towards the celebration for these folks, and at least come by and partake of the breakfast, because I know it'll be good food and it's always a good time when we all get together. The other happening this week, as I'm moving on, is the tripod survey. I let that sneak up on me. I forgot about it. We're just pairing you up, and you will be administering the tripod survey to somebody else's class. And we're going to do this as painless as possible. Remember, the tripod data does not enter into your evaluation score. It doesn't, quote, count. But it's good feedback for you to perfect your practice in the eyes of the end user, the students. So we'll cooperate with the system and get that done, and try not to make it as no mess, no fuss as much as possible. Other things to be aware of: the grading period ends this Friday. Grades will be pulled from the SIS for progress reports on the Monday that we return from spring break, March 24th at 4:01 p.m. Progress reports will go out through advisory on that Tuesday morning, and then we will follow that up with student-led conferences from 6 to 8 on March 27th. We'll try to figure out how we need to be sure that parents and students understand the importance of this formatted, structured conversation. We had several success stories last semester, and we hope to build on those. You are required, this is part of your parent contact hours, so you are expected to be here on Thursday the 27th from 6 to 8. If you can't, for whatever reason, be sure and let me know, and be sure that plans are made for students in your advisory to have an adult present. And then also a fun reminder, on April 5th, which is a Saturday, it's Casa, I want to say it's Del Sol, but I know that's not it. It's Casa del something, is having a fundraiser, and they're actually racing llamas in the World's Fair Park. Our students are going to get to help construct some of the llama pens on Friday afternoon, April 4th, and our school actually has a sponsored llama in the race. I can't remember the name of the tech company, but there's a local tech company that sponsored our schools, is sponsoring the llama in our name. Our art students are going to, well, our students, I'm assuming it's going to be our art students, are going to get to design a calendar, a costume and whole theme to go with our llama, and we've asked Randy Boyd to be our celebrity jockey for our llama. They're not going to ride them, they're just going to walk alongside of them. So it ought to be a hoot, and wanted to make you aware of what was going on. Expect traffic tie-ups and changes in traffic patterns on Friday the 4th as they get set up for that. So that's pretty much it as far as calendar things to be aware of. I do want to remind you, if you have a class where you're going to require summer reading, we have to turn in a list, and before we turn in that list, I have to verify that somebody has read the book and vetted it and completed the placemat review that was put in operation this past fall. It asks for the Lexile level of the book, why you're reading it, what you hope to get out of it, that sort of thing. If you're reading books that we've already used, you don't have to fill that out. They're grandfathered in. But any new title needs to be to administration by April 1st. If you have suggestions for grade level reads that are different than we've used in the past, we're all about being dynamic, so let's hear them. And I also want to solicit ideas if you've come across some good reading for a faculty read for the summer, because we'll be doing something along those lines too. But remember, the student summer reading is due by April 1st, and teachers that have, I know several of you have extensive lists. Please be sure we have those lists so we know what's going on, because we're going to get asked about it by the school board. Then also remember that the deadline is coming up for unscheduled in-service hours. All faculty are expected to have accumulated a minimum of 12 system-wide unscheduled in-service hours since last May, and 6 building level. You will be able, several of you have done things that have already counted. Most of you are already done with all 18 hours. We're going to try to get the retreat in so it can count as your in-service hours, because we've been counting on it all year long. So we'll figure out what that looks like. As a matter of fact, I'm planning on talking about it at this Wednesday's faculty meeting. Remember, this Wednesday is an early release Wednesday, and we will do a whole faculty group meeting. So be thinking about what you want to share in our next Technology Smackdown. Somebody needs to dethrone Mr. Napier, who won the last time with his Sphere app. And we'll talk a little bit about the calendar that'll take us through the rest of through graduation. So I hope everybody has a great week, and hold down the fort. We're moving in on a full moon, which is always scary, but it's a full moon before spring break. So we just know that some of our darlings get extra special around this time of the month, and I ask your patience and your continued professionalism in dealing with it, and thank you for everything that you all do to make the L&N a great place. Have a good week.